maybe offered any introspection, any look back at your season thus far that maybe you looked upon and came away with any takeaways?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you can take away from a season like this when things aren't going the way you've expected it, when you have goals for yourself that help try to accomplish the goals for the team, and they're not aligning, right? They're not going the way you want it to go. So there's a lot of things I can learn from there that I've been able to look back at. But yeah, throughout all of that, had great reflection time, great rest and recovery as well throughout that time, and just glad we get back at it, and hopefully we can continue our win streak and sort of the mantra that we've had, these past couple weeks.
How do you feel you've grown at this point in terms of dealing with whenever adversity does hit?
Yeah, I think regardless of what that adversity looks like, big, small, or indifferent, there's always something to learn from, but there is also something that you can always take away from whatever that difficult time was. And so for me, I think I've had many things to have picked and choose throughout those difficult times to, try to maneuver through. And then it's also the aspect of coming in to work daily, having to be the leader for the guys, and having to continue to operate, do things that I need to do to help accomplish what we want to do offensively, and that's scoring points.
Kind of along that same line, you just mentioned, that you've learned a lot of things. Just care to share, I guess, the biggest lesson from this season?
Yeah, I would say probably. Well, I mean, I think I'll probably plead the fifth on that. Yeah. Yeah.
Was looking at the Saints defense, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Kool-Aid kind of on the back end, just a lot of names on it. Just what were some of the things that you saw during your film study that, is why this defense maybe not be successful and generally from a record standpoint, but could give the offense some problems?
Yeah, they have a lot of veterans on that side of the ball, and having a lot of veterans, having guys that have seen a lot of football, that have played a lot of football. You got guys that have played together for some time as well. They know how to operate. They kind of know, okay, if I go here, I know I'm going to trust that you're going to be there. And I think the camaraderie that they have defensively is what makes them successful in, trying to minimize as much points as they can from their opposing team's offense. And so, yeah, that's what I see when I look at their defense. They play hard. They play with a chip on their shoulder, and they play together really.
How do you see Austin Jackson, the way he's been coming back and attacking practice, and where maybe he could be in terms of getting back?
Yeah, I got to see Austin Jackson out there, a little bit, but like I said with Waller as well. When we get him and Austin back, I think they'll be great additions for us moving forward, and those guys want to be back as well. So we'll see how the week plays out, and we'll see Sunday.
So much has been made about the Daniel Brunskill 6 offensive lineman package, and it has a great impact on the running game. But I was curious from a quarterback's perspective, how does that help you, whether it's from that grouping and throwing the football, or the way maybe that impacts the defense for other packages where you do throw the ball from those more often?
I think it impacts the defense because not just the personnel, but with, I guess, certain things that they do. There's not too many things you can do based off of certain packages because you just don't work that throughout, the year as much. And it allows us that opportunity to throw the ball off of actions because having him in there in that 13 personnel, and running the ball, the way we've been running the ball, it's going to help always in the pass game. And then, you kind of switch up the personnels a little bit and continue to do the same. That's sort of the results you're looking for, right? You get good run game, past the action game should be really good off of that.
One of the things that Mike took some time to talk about when your name came up earlier today was basically your running of the offense from the time you're in the huddle, breaking the huddle, getting everybody lined up, pre-snap, post-snap. What did you see? What did you set out to accomplish as the season went on so that the offense was running in a more crisp fashion?
Well, I wouldn't say it's just a one-man job. It's not just something that I do that helps our offense run. I have help from a lot of the leaders on the offense, from Brew, from Alec, especially when I'm hearing the calls, I'm telling them, hey, for this next series or before the game, hey, like before we start the game, I'm going to need your help with getting the guys in the huddle as fast as possible so that I can get it in. We can operate with however many motions we got to do and then run the play so we don't have to stay down on the clock. We have time to visually see the defense moving, things of that nature. So I wouldn't say it's just something that, I've been able to do by myself. I have tremendous help by the other captains, by the other leaders on the offense, and they take just as much pride as I do in getting the operation together to force the defense to have to get set and play football.
And the offense has really cut down on penalties these past few weeks. It seems to make a major difference for everybody.
Yeah, and I would attest that to, again, the guys that are in that huddle, Alec, Brew, and a couple of the other guys in there, to, when the operation doesn't look as good, bring it back. We're going to tell you to play again. We're going to operate the way we know this thing can operate for us to be successful and for us to do things we need to do. And then that's sort of where we go from. And then also the same thing with penalties. Get a penalty, bring it back. We're going to start that operation over again until we get it.
A coworker of mine is doing a story on roughing the passer penalties and throughout the league, and I'm curious from your perspective or like your standpoint, like is there an art to not necessarily just flopping and drawing a roughing call, but if you feel like, oh hey, I'm being hit late, I'm being hit after the whistle, like how receptive are officials usually when you bring that up to them?
I wouldn't say I'm one of the guys throughout the leagues that I don't just flop if somebody touches me. Like if they hit me and I fall, like I'm falling, and if I feel like I get the ball out and then there's a couple seconds in between where I'm getting hit, then I'll be like dude, like I'll look back to the ref. So outside of that, I understand the impact that has on the game for guys on the defensive side of the ball, and because it's my position, I mean, I'm fair game. Like I love that they protect the quarterback with that, right? But I can also see the pros, for us, but more so the cons for the guys on defense, when guys are trying to make plays, and they're trying to sack the guy, and for some reason the quarterback backs up and he's now tackling his legs, and that's a flag. So I can understand both the pros and the cons, but when I go out there to play football, I'm not looking for a roughing the passer or like a flag as I play. Like it is what it is. We go out there, we play the game the way the game should be played, and just focus on that. Should take care of itself.
I know you always try to look at things 1 week at a time, but you did mention this team is on a winning streak, 2 games. From the perspective of the ultimate goal, and you are at 7 losses, is it hard to ever just steer away from that mindset of, okay, you pretty much got to win every game and look ahead, like it's the 6 weeks, you got to get to 10-7 if you really want a shot at this, or how do you sort of separate those two thoughts?
Yeah, well, I would say it starts from the work that we're putting in now, right? We can't look forward because we can't control any of that's in the future. Obviously, what's happened in the past has happened. What we can't control is today. Things that we just had practice. We can control what we get out of our meetings when we watch practice. We can control all of that. And I think our main focus, is sort of collectively focusing all our energy on our football. And what does that look like? For every position, that's different. But I think that's what our formula has been these past couple weeks, and that's what we're trying to accomplish.
There have been a few instances this year where I feel like teams have overlooked you guys and have, suffered the consequences of that. Just how do you avoid kind of, as you guys are on this 2-game win streak, how do you avoid doing that against a team like the Saints that, doesn't have necessarily the best record?
Well, I don't think you look at their record. I think you look at the team for what it is. for myself, I have to look at their defense for what it is, and they have a really good defense. They played a lot of really good offenses, and it's been really close games as well. And, for our defense, they're looking at their offense visually the same. And I think that's how you look at it. This is the NFL, right? All these guys are getting paid. We're all getting paid to do a job, and that doesn't mean you show up on Sunday and you're guaranteed a win. It's any given Sunday that anything can happen. And so, we're not looking at this as we're just going to show up and win the game. I don't think any of us think that. We got to prepare the way we need to put ourselves in the best position to help ourselves win this game. And we got to go out and prepare for a 60-minute battle.
So we're kind of sticking with the Saints defense. We heard Mike earlier today kind of gush about Demario Davis and how he's got professional scars from his past in his career. Has he imparted that onto y'all at all? Like, has that message been made clear that Davis is somebody you really need to look out for?
Yeah, he's talked about Demario, but not just Demario. He's also talked about Cam. He's talked about a good amount of their guys on defense, and it's not the kind of talk of, to where it's like, man, just you got to fear this guy. It's just the respect that he has as a coach's perspective for those players on that defensive side. And if you watch their film, I mean, you can understand why, and they're doing it at a high level still. I think Mario's 14 years in or something like that. I mean, you don't get to 14 years on the same team, by just being a slap. So, he's a dog. He does what he needs to do to command that defense to, operate. And we'll see on Sunday. Hopefully, we can do what we need to do to go against those guys, and I'm excited to compete against them. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.